don't know the power of sci-fi radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, everybody. We are back. Docking Bay 94. We've been off the air for 2 weeks. Why? It's all my fault. I took an eclipse trip that I had planned to take. But more about that in a bit. You could be listening to us on sci-fi.radio. You could be watching us on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or wherever you happen to be. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Joe Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kayla Crosby.
And welcome, everybody. Let me get our video up for our video people. And there we go. And, yeah, thanks for the 2 weeks off. I know it was kind of weird. And we had planned on doing that at all. I have a friend named Chris I used to work with at Griffith Observatory. And he was going to have to bail on his eclipse trip out to Texas because his family wasn't going to make it. And as a result, he asked me to go. And so we did. We drove instead of flew. It was expensive to fly. I looked into tickets. It was like $700.
Yeah, jeez.
It was nuts. And then it cost considerably less to drive, I think. So that was that. That's why we weren't on the air. So I went to Roswell, as my shirt says. And it was fun driving the Star Wars car through Roswell, really. Because Roswell's weird, and we were even weirder, and that was more fun. So yeah, good trip that we'll talk about a little more later on.
Yep.
Groovy. Well, let's say hi to Sam and Lori and Alan and Dawn and Frequent Falcon Flyer and Budala
Chris.
and the
David.
Ladia 1066 and Foxtrot Joe, Talonthorn. Welcome back, everybody.
That's a good crowd.
Yeah.
It's been quiet today on sci-fi.radio.
Oh, Foxtrot Joe is Rose.
Groovy.
I think Rose changes her name more than anyone I know.
Well, on Twitch, it's been Foxtrot Joe for a long time.
Has it?
Yep.
I just, for the most part, said everybody else's screen name because I'm so very terrible at remembering what people's screen name is versus their real name.
Right, exactly.
And so I don't want to be, I don't know, randomly saying it's Joe and Steve and Sally.
Because then we sound like Romper Room, honestly. Romper, bumper, stomper, boo.
bumper.
When my mom was like 19, she took her baby sister, who was maybe 2, something like that.
Yeah.
On Romper Room.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It looked kind of cool, and what's really interesting is it was a regional show, so you can look up like all of the various Romper Room teachers, and they're all very distinctive and very much of whatever area the show is.
Yeah.
They're like the exact perfect little like bundle of whatever is represents a school marm in that area.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny stuff.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But I don't remember them ever calling my name when they looked in the magic mirror. I always felt slighted. It's like, no, Sean. Oh well.
Oh, Kelly's here as well. I don't
Awesome.
think I've ever seen an episode of Romper Room.
Wow.
And I didn't, when I was a kid, I never watched
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers. I rarely watched Sesame Street. The only one that my mom didn't get annoyed at was Mr. Green Jeans. What was that one?
It was Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of Sesame Street experience.
Oh my gosh!
I watched them all.
How did you form your little brain?
Well, that's why I can't multiply. I can't do my multiplication tables because I never had Sesame Street.
Well, so Romper Room started in
That's how that
Baltimore
works.
in 1953, and then was franchised internationally. Canada, the UK, Japan, Finland, New Zealand, Puerto Rico, Paraguay, Argentina, and Australia. That's pretty funny. I would like to see the Spanish version of it.
Well, yeah.
Cool.
It was something.
I
A
was
lot of kid shows back then.
Yeah, I was hoping for a list of the various hosts, but
Oh, geez.
I don't see one.
There must have been so many. So
So, I don't know. We've been gone for so long that I don't know if we should go through the weeks or we should just have each person sum up their last 3 weeks.
Well, I think summing
That's
up
probably,
is
that's
pretty
probably
good.
best. Who wants to start?
Jeff, why don't you go?
okay. I don't really. Let's see here. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that was on there. Okay. Yeah. I guess I thought we had WonderCon before the show went off, but I guess not. Okay.
Well, I thought we did a show on the 4th, but we didn't because my trip started on the 3rd and got completely hijacked.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah. WonderCon was interesting. I went with Sean to be the just in case on Saturday.
Yeah, we were the backup
Yeah.
for if something went wrong during the masquerade. We were very
Yeah.
kindly asked by Martin, who runs the masquerade, to come be there. He gave us passes, and we were just there
Yeah.
to make sure everything went smoothly, and if there was an emergency, to handle it. Because he's the host and the MC until the primary MC comes out, which in this case was Ashley Eckstein.
Yes.
And
yes.
so, and boy, did she do a great job. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
totally.
we spent most of our time sort of revolving around the masquerade.
Yeah. I mean, when we got there earlier, I was just wondering about or trying to get through any portion of the con itself, but we didn't get very far. So
Nah, we didn't.
we ended up getting through part of it, but it was just getting stopped a lot because of somebody. But
Right. No, it's not my fault. It just happens.
because everybody knows,
It's a thing.
Sean.
Well, and
Yeah.
Don is saying that he saw you guys there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saw Don. Saw Malachi. Saw.
Yeah, we had to hunt
gosh,
for
ton of people.
Malachi.
Yes, that was difficult.
He's like, "Come find me," and it's like, Malachi, when you tell people to come find you, you should tell them exactly where you are, like your booth
Exactly.
because that just helps
Yeah.
everybody out.
Yeah, but it was pretty neat. We were Ghostbusters, so we just kind of wandered around and such, and then went off to do the masquerade later. And then Sunday, I came back and met with Owen and Casey, and we just wandered around, and we ended up getting to a few booths here and there. It was like, so I got there fairly late. I thought it was going to be running later, I guess, or something, but ended up going there and got to go around. Still didn't see the entire floor, the dealer room. Still didn't see the entirety of that,
Right.
let alone whatever else they had going on at the con. But enough anyway. But yeah, I went to let's see. The next thing after that was probably the Ducks game. Was like Casey had tickets, and then something happened that where I guess it was miscommunication or something, and ended up being that Casey only was able to get the 2 tickets, and Sparrow's the one likes the games. So said, well, just take Sparrow, and they like, nope, you guys go. So Casey gave us both tickets, and so I went to see the first Ducks game I've ever seen without being in a costume and not actually, in the costume at these things. You don't see the game at all.
Yeah, so that
But,
was the thing I didn't understand. I thought maybe there had been a Star Wars Night at the Ducks thing while I was
No.
gone.
No.
And apparently
It's
that's,
like,
you
yeah,
just
the
went
last
to a
home game of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'd never actually seen, the hockey, basically a hockey game, like just in person to sit there and, watch the game. And it's, it's agreed, it keeps your attention more than most sports because it's so fast paced. So, and so we got, so Sparrow and I got, pretty much, excuse me, stuck on like, get the puck out of there, go down that way, yelling and then yelling at the refs for the calls and all that kind of fun stuff. So it was fun. And then Sparrow got one. When we left, we got one of those big plastic duck hockey, goalie masks. The duck shaped one.
Right.
Yeah.
Wild
Which
Wing.
is pretty much their logo. Yeah. There's that. So that was fun. The Tustin Library was pretty neat. I did that with the Ghostbusters. So we just kind of, just hung around and, did experiments with kids, so to speak. And, that was pretty neat. Went to the first time I'd ever been to a tiki bar. So I've never been to an actual tiki bar.
Oh, how fun.
And,
Neat.
And so that was at in Tustin, called Stowaways.
Right.
Really nice. When we went in, and it was like, because we got there like after the library, so I don't remember when that ended, but when we went in, it was daylight. We came out, it was still daylight but you're in there. There's no windows. There's just like mostly like some soft lighting up here and there, and like maybe some like Christmas lights on the ceiling or something. But
Tiki bars are
so,
notoriously dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I walked out the door, I'm like, oh, it's still daytime, because, you're in there all in the dark. It was pretty cool. The food was good. And they actually had good food. It wasn't just a bar. It was nice.
Where was it?
Tustin.
Hmm.
In the
What's
city of
the name
Tustin.
of it?
It's a Stowaways Tiki Bar.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had veggie food too, so that's why I was able to eat.
Oh, that's
cool.
good.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
yeah.
who really, 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 really like tiki bars, and there's a whole like subculture of it. And in fact, the Studebaker that we have came from that culture. Some of the people who were super tiki fans had bought it, and they were working on it, and that's how we ended up with it.
Oh, okay.
Because a friend of mine who's really into that culture referred us to them, and yeah, it's a pretty big deal. It's been going on for a while.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. After that, or probably before that, around that, whatever, we went. We had to work on the new place we're moving to, so that's been fun. Messing around, cleaning up the yard, pulling everything out of the walls, doing spackling, yada yada yada, cleaning. One of the bathrooms was pretty bad. So it actually had black mold on the ceiling. So we had to
oh no,
we had to kill it with vinegar. Basically, it's pretty much how you kill black mold is you use vinegar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the higher the concentration of the better. So which I didn't know. So if you get vinegar anywhere, there's a percentage of vinegar to like water, much like bleach, or even hydrogen peroxide or anything like that. There's a percentage. So higher the better. So Aubrey sprayed that thing crazy, and then we went in and we're up there scrubbing and stuff and and such, and then priming it. So that took a while. Just that one bathroom was the worst part. And then we went to DCA to get some to wander around and have some of the food because they're having their food festival right now. Yeah, that's it. And it was pretty. We didn't good? We didn't go on any rides. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to remember what the heck it was I had. They had like a let's see. they had like the fake chicken, if you want to call it that. You know,
Mhm.
the vegan
Impossible
chicken, stuff like
chicken.
that. Yeah, I had some stuff like that, and um, the what was it? It was like it was like a really big Mickey Mouse shaped macaroon. So Mickey had
Oh
macaroon.
yeah, they have
Yeah, it
those
was
all over the
huge.
place.
Yeah, it was really good.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
not yesterday, but the day before, I went to DCA to wrap out my friend Judy's Sip and Savor Pass because the
Hmm.
food festival's going away. And so I
Yeah.
had all the stuff that you didn't. So I had like the pastrami like pastrami loaded French fries at Smoke Jumpers.
Mm.
We had some like garlic something mac and cheese. There was like a
Oh, wow.
cheeseburger bao that was really pretty good and pretty much just tasted like a McDonald's cheeseburger, which was weird. Yeah, so we had all of that kind of stuff because she's like, I got to use up this money, and so we went around and we just like ate everything up, and then I think for dessert, and she ended up taking one of these home, but we got one to split, which was
Gotcha.
it was like a chocolate s'more or something with a big marshmallow on top, and that was actually
Okay.
really good too. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. So and we, and I got some other things. I can't quite remember what they all were there at offhand right now, but it was good. You know,
Did you
yeah, it
have
was
to wait in
surprising.
really long lines for some of it?
No, not really. I mean, because we knew what we were looking for, and I guess a lot of the people were mostly going to a lot of the stuff that was more 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 centered into the park, like over by where you would look over the water,
Yeah,
around that area at the center.
yeah,
That's like
that's where
Little
most of them
Mermaid
were.
area and stuff. That's where a huge number of people were in, and like over by like the wine tasting place, or that span of areas was just where most of everyone was. We didn't really get food from there. We went to some of the other booths, different spots, and not terrible lines.
We had to pick up something in the Hollywood section of
Hmm.
DCA, and I don't remember what it was. But we were like
Huh.
getting ready to go, and I'm like, don't you have something to pick up over there? And Judy's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I would have walked out completely and forgotten about it.
You mean like a product or food?
Pre-ordered food.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
pre-ordered food to go get, which was, and
Gotcha.
I don't remember what it was though. I mean, we got it, we ate it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Cool. And I think Knott's trip was mostly going and getting and having some raspberry flavored stuff. Um, and again, I don't think we went on a ride. I just we went and got food and came back. Yeah, and went home. So, um, but I got some raspberry soap. By golly,
Woo!
finally!
Hope you didn't eat
It's
that.
like no, it's something that they, of course, it's something that's like a once. It's only available apparently during the festival because I mean I look every time I go when it's not the festival. I can't find it anywhere. So
Well,
yeah,
right
but yeah,
on.
I
Cool.
What'd you
was
get up to,
busy.
Colleen?
What did I get up to? So I flew to Arizona to visit with my mom, and while I was in Arizona, I went to pub trivia, and
Hmm.
our team came in third. So
Ooh.
woohoo! Which means that the team, the next time they went to play pub trivia, they got like a $20 gift certificate or something like that.
That you
Oh,
don't get
okay.
to participate in because you don't live
Yeah.
there.
That's okay. My aunt always buys us dinner anyway, so
Oh.
it's not like
Yeah.
like I was out any bucks for doing that.
Well, and you're usually like the youngest member on the team, right?
No, my cousin Megan was there.
Oh, Megan was there.
Yeah,
Right on.
she was the youngest.
Excellent.
I was able to answer, and Megan's boyfriend knew, like, he was the Sean in the
Everything?
situation. He knew
Really?
everything. Yeah, and it was sad because I knew which year the Northridge earthquake was, but it was a gimme
Oh.
question. You were allowed to look up one question before, like they gave you the answer if you looked it up before, and
I
that
see.
happened to be the one. And I'm like, but I know that
But I
one.
was there. I lived through it.
And I think there was like a question about, what is the electric car? What company has an electric car that's the Leaf? And I knew that. And
Nissan.
I think there might have been one other, but everybody else knew too. So I didn't really do anything great for the team. Wednesday, we went and saw a play called Masterclass, which is about the opera singer Maria Callas. I knew very little about Maria Callas going in. Basically, I knew that she was an opera singer and was around in the 1970s. It was pretty much my entirety of my knowledge of her. But it was a good play, and it had a woman in it who was in News Radio, and I've forgotten her name, but she was the redhead from News Radio.
Yeah, and I looked her up recently, and I don't remember her
And
name.
she was really, really good. And the only problem, Vicki Lewis is her name. She did a very good job, but the sound system in the theater was a little bit muddy. And so my mom, who is completely deaf in one ear and aging, so losing hearing quickly in her other ear, couldn't hear. And the sound system that they gave wasn't one of the ones where it shows you the text. It was one of the ones where you put it on and it just like makes it louder.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay.
the muddiness of the system meant that it didn't matter, because like I couldn't hear
Geez.
what she was saying, and I don't know how much of it was the muddy sound system and how much of it was the Greek accent that she was. I mean, I think it was a Greek accent. I might be wrong.
Yeah, there's a problem, and you and I have had this, and Jeff and I have had this to a lesser extent in the same theater. We've all gone to see things in the Pantages Theater. And the Pantages started as a movie theater. It became a live stage theater, and they use it for both things. And so Jeff and I have seen premieres there for movies. Like we saw Rogue One there and a couple other things. And it suffered from muddy sound. Like we saw one of the sequel movies, and Kylo Ren would come on, and he would just be...
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what he was saying? I don't even know what he was saying.
I know. I was like, what's that, teacher? Wah, 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 wah.
It's like...
The worst part about my mom not being able to hear was that it was a good thing on one hand. She decided, instead of getting upset about it and feeling like the whole experience was ruined, she would turn that and, like focus on something else. But the problem was I was trying really hard to figure out what the woman was saying. And my mom kept poking me and going, "What color do you think her suit is? Do you think that's gray or blue?" I'm like, oh my God.
Which is totally your mom. Your mom mom has sharp elbows. For somebody so round, she has sharp elbows. Yeah, it's really...
But it was a fun night being able to take my mom to a play. I really enjoyed that.
Great.
And then my aunt and my mom, their birthdays are... My mom's is on Wednesday and my aunt's is on Thursday. And so we went out to a birthday dinner on Friday and celebrated everybody, and that was fun.
So before I left on my trip, one of the things that I knew I had to do was make sure I didn't leave a gigantic mess for Colleen, which turned out to be very fortuitous because you ended up hosting the sewing circle here.
Yeah, so like on... I don't know, like Thursday or Wednesday, my sewing circle, the person who's in charge, sent out a note and said, "Hey, we never chose where the sewing circle was going to be this week. Who's going to host it?" And I, who have not hosted in like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, said, "I can do it." Because Sean had promised to clean up the house. And
I wasn't going to be there.
And he wasn't going to be here. And then all of my family was like, "Well, Sean's not going to be home. Why don't you just stay longer?" And I'm all, oh my gosh, I just promised to host my sewing circle. I'm throwing a party basically at my house. Plus, I have to go home and feed the turtles.
Right.
So I came home, made the brilliant decision that since it was around 1 o'clock on Saturday when I got home and the weather was lovely, that I would walk home from the airport, which, if I hadn't had a suitcase, would have been a lovely walk.
It would have been fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that walk with a suitcase, and that was my exact regret.
My wrist still hurts from dragging my suitcase and trying to pick it up over the cracks in the sidewalk that are like all buckled.
And Jeff has walked the neighborhood with us because we walked to dinner and stuff. And that's the thing, is like you do this crazy little dance to get over the giant cracks and the roots that have heave the sidewalk, and oh, what a mess.
Yeah. So did that. Sunday I went out and saw the movie Wicked Little Letters, which was very pleasant to just be able to go to a movie theater on my own.
Nice.
I haven't done that in a long time, so I just popped in and saw it. It wasn't a movie that you really need to pay to see on the big screen. It was more like a PBS thing that you would see, and it was a mystery. It was like somebody sending vulgar letters to somebody else in this tiny little British town, and it was completely obvious to me who it was, very quickly.
Oh dear.
And so, but it was still a very enjoyable movie. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend when it comes out on your TV, whatever system it's going to show up on, because I know it'll show up somewhere.
It's some streaming service.
Yeah, watch Wicked Little Letters. It was good. And then we had the sewing circle. I made asparagus tart and brownies, and then I ate asparagus tart and brownies for the rest of the week.
That's where the brownies came from. They were good.
And then on Saturday, Sean and I went to a party. And at the party, we were given instructions. We were given a list of the other people at the party, a little checklist with everybody's name on it. And you had to ask you had to go and ask each person, how do you know the hosts? What is your hobby or entertainment? And then there was one other.
Bizarre.
Do you remember what the other question was, Sean?
I don't. And the thing that was really funny, though, is if first off, there was a lot of paperwork involving this party.
Yes,
where
there
you
was.
had like a name tag around your neck, and it was attached to this thing, and you had to separate them, do a bunch of
they
things.
gave you a pen.
But the thing that was really funny is it's like an adult party, by way of a kid's party.
Very much so.
Because it was very much like going to like a kid's birthday party, up to and including one of the games.
Yeah, we played Pin the Tail on the Donkey.
Which I was gonna joke about, because I saw the thing, because their theme was like sort of spicy or something, and it was all sort of like Mexican themed.
Yeah, it was like south of the border with jalapenos and
right. And so I saw this thing stuck on the wall, and I'm like, are we gonna play Pin the Tail on the Donkey? The heck is this thing?
And we did.
And then they announced that we were playing with.
But what they did was they divided us up into pairs, not the person that you came with.
Right.
It was a random draw.
Pairs.
And then with the person, one of the people in the pair had to be blindfolded, and the other person had to stand backwards and tell them where to put the tail by looking through a hand mirror.
Yeah, so you were looking at them backwards, like go left, go right, go close, stick your hand out, go up more, 2 inches, 3 inches.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
It was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, I sucked.
And then we played. Oh, wait a minute! I came in third in that too. Maybe third is my natural place.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then we played Catchphrase, which is kind of like Password.
Yeah.
Really fun game. But since we were a big group and not just like 6 or 8 people, they had to move us in and out of the game.
Right. People kept swapping in and out.
Yeah.
And so you would win the night if you basically just stayed in the whole time. And so that was some of the people did never left, and they sort of won that game.
Right. And then I went to a dance the next day, and I'm getting better at dancing, you guys. I only screwed up 2 of the dances this time. So, and the people remembered me this time.
In a good way.
in a good way, and said that I was getting better. So, woohoo! I am getting better at something that went out of fashion like 200 years ago.
It only took you 200 years, right on.
And of course, we did our taxes.
So I was going to do the taxes. I had
Same
all
thing.
You okay,
I'll
Jeff?
be right back.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I had all of these great plans for when Colleen was out of town because I had the whole house for a week, right? So I had all sorts of plans, things I was going to do, one of which was the taxes. And so, when I got back, we had to like completely wail on our taxes to get them done.
And I had all sorts of calendar entries like February, do the taxes. March, do the taxes. Yeah, we ignored all of them.
Right. And it wasn't a big deal because our taxes aren't super complicated and we don't have anything to declare. We don't own a house. We don't have children. We take the standardized deduction every time because every time I have taken a day and a half to itemize everything, every business expense, the computers that we bought, the mileage that we did. I mean, basically the tax software is like, oh, you know what works for you? The standard deduction because you haven't reached any of this stuff. And so I'm like, forget it. I just don't even do that anymore. So we actually got them done pretty quick. And, we did our usual savings contributions so we could get a little bit more back. And, I think we, we did a little better than we did in previous years. And that's good. So, but there's a certain relief when that's all done. You're like, yeah, it's very cool. But I was going to do that while Colleen was gone. Yeah. And I thought, oh, that'd be terrific. But what I ended up doing is I used to work at Griffith Observatory at the as in the art department, and my buddy Chris, who on our trip got word that he is now the de facto art director of the Griffith Observatory. Congratulations, Chris.
Nice.
That's pretty amazing. It only took him 25 years to get there, and he's. But in the case of it's a city job, so you have to wait for people to retire and things like that. And so But anyway, he got the email, phone call, whatever while we were traveling, which was pretty great.
That's cool.
And so, but I'd gotten a phone call that his family couldn't make it on the trip, which was a real bummer. And he's like, "Well, what are you doing? Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Well, it sounds fun, but it also sounds expensive." And he's like, "Well, have you seen a total eclipse?" I'm like, "I don't know, maybe as a kid." He's like, "No, you would know if you saw a total eclipse." I'm like, "Well, okay." So we did some math and figured it out, and I figured that it would be cheaper for us to split the gas than for us to buy a couple of plane tickets, because the plane tickets were like $700-800 when I was looking, and to go to Texas, and then you have to rent a car, and you got to find. We had a place to stay in Texas, which was fine. So, so Colleen's like, "Yeah, you should go." I'm like, "All right, well, Colleen says I should go. I should go."
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Spousal permission, always important. So that was it. We started going, and so cleaned up the car, got it ready to go. First real road trip for the G-Wing, this Genesis, and we thought, well, I think that we'll see how it goes. And so, like, we got the first gas station, and already I lost a hubcap, which is either a great sign because it's like, oh no, something bad happened on the trip already, or it was it was just like a weird thing. It's like, so we didn't really take it as much of a harbinger. But I'm like, really, my hubcap? And I almost brought a spare. I almost brought an extra hubcap just because this happens to me all the time. But it's not like we were showing the car anywhere or anything. So we got into Roswell, and Roswell was really fun. So we did all sorts of like really cool things. They have lots of murals and stuff. Roswell, of course, has completely embraced the whole alien thing. And so, the signs, there are 4 signs at each cardinal point of the compass. They are each slightly different. Most of them have UFOs crashed into them, which is pretty funny. And even the McDonald's looks like a spaceship because,
of course, yeah,
it's awesome. And the spaceship part is the play place. That whole thing is the play place. which is cool. And with all the McDonald's getting really boring these days, this was like super fun. I lost a gun off the car because the magnets I had were rated to 100 miles an hour. But when you're passing somebody at 100 miles an hour and you get hit by a sideways wind doing 40, magnets aren't very good. So I lost one of my guns, which I've just recently rebuilt. Here we go. Nice. This is a flying saucer all lit up, which was nice. Super cool. And they, you know, everything was like weird and creepy and neat. This is that whole mural that I was by, which is like all aliens all the time. And that's the alternate parking lot for McDonald's. McDonald's just went all in, really, which was super cool. And gas was, you know, reasonably cheap, which was nice. I mean, $3.15 isn't too sucky. I think we got down to like 301 or something like that on the trip.
Jeez.
But Chris and I, we were at a lot of McDonald's. We had a lot of McDonald's on this trip, which was fun.
And then Sean had McDonald's again this week, so he's not sick of it, even though he had a lot of McDonald's. I'm
not.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
This was really neat, and I'd like to see somebody do this somewhere else. Like we were talking, maybe Griffith Observatory. This is what part of the galaxy are you from? And you put donations to the Ronald McDonald House into the slot of where you're from, and so it's all the different states and things like that. In the country, so that you see like who's winning. So of course there's like a lot from Texas, there's a lot from New Mexico, it's a lot of traveling, and you look at Maine and there's like nothing from Maine.
Gotcha.
We went to White Sands, which was the missile testing area, and of course they were like, do not be here, please go away. And there were a lot of other signs like, if you observe anything dangerous, you should tell the police. And these signs had been there so long, the red is leached out of them. There was just like no red at all.
Yeah.
We went into Alamogordo. This caught our attention, this big giant water tower. And so we went into Alamogordo to check that out. And it turned out that it was a logging town. Alamogordo... Alamo is a cottonwood tree, and Gordo is fat, so it's fat cottonwood tree. Is what it stands for. And so like this is the scale of that water tower. It was absolutely huge and really just kind of epic. And then we ended up checking out the local area. There was like a zoo, and this is a phone booth for the railway. It's like a concrete telephone booth, so they could get silence when the trains are going by.
Nice.
Which was crazy. There were some cool military memorials to the airborne people who left from the town. And the town itself was like kind of a ghost town. It was like big and empty and crazy. And then there was this place. If you have seen the first Transformers movie, you've seen some of the White Sands base where they shot, and you've seen this place where Shia LaBeouf like runs away from a bunch of dogs. And he goes through this lumber yard, which was founded in like 1899. And so we did some urban spelunking here to check out this really old place. You've heard of a 2-bit town. That's a 3-bit town.
Oh, I see, yeah.
3 drill bits. But this place was just trashed. But I love places. It was only abandoned in 2007. But, you know, so much of it is still in pretty good shape. It was really neat to like cruise around and check all this stuff out and see what was going on. It's just like saw blades everywhere. And, you know, this is the incinerator. It's called a teepee or a wigwam incinerator, although the politically correct version now is the beehive incinerator. And basically that's where all the sawdust and the wood cuttings go. And they burn those up, and they've got the spark arrestor at the top. That's what that domed thing is. And so it was really neat. And I thought for sure the security was going to come kick our butt. And no, not at all. They just they ignored us. So I guess either they didn't see us or we looked safe enough. We went to San Antonio. Once we got into Texas, we went to the Alamo, which was fun. There is no basement that people can access. But they added 2 since the Pee Wee Herman movie came out, and he was looking for the basement in the Alamo.
It's a lot smaller than you think it is.
It is really tiny.
You think it's huge,
right? And it's and so we live in California. We have we have the California missions everywhere.
Yeah,
This was
like San Juan Capistrano. Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
and this
Tidy.
is mostly like the missions that we have up and down
Yeah.
California, and it's a big church, and you
Yeah.
know, the same kind of thing. They have lots of really great sculptures around it, which were cool, and they're trying to renovate it back to what it was, and so there's a whole bunch of really interesting stories about different people who were there. They're reconstructing some of the things that are gone. That's what this is. Thing you can't get at yet. They've got it all blocked off, and so they're trying to recreate that. And you know, and then of course there's like Ripley's Believe It or Not and the touristy stuff that's there. And this awful. There was a Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
a Louis Tussauds, and the wax was just terrible. This is supposed to be Lady Gaga. Which
Nice.
is not great. That's supposed to be Britney Spears. There was like a James Bond that didn't look like James Bond. So yeah, we had a really cool time. I'm just gonna flip through a bunch of these. We went to the River Walk, which is interesting because people have been sending this thing around Facebook going, how many of these places have you been to? And one of them is the River Walk, which I'd never really thought much about. And this was, kind of fun. Lots of shops and nerdy stuff and little boats you could take and art installations, and it was cool. Very Logan's Run. A lot of the water features I saw through the whole thing, very Logan's Run,
That's cool.
which were kind of neat. Big statuary all over the place, neat architecture and bridges and stuff, and then of course the usual, we're tough because we're Texas kind of stuff going on. The world's biggest Denny's, right there. Not really. It just looked like the Denny's.
I mean, because that's a lot of servers.
Right? Didn't know you could sleep at the Denny's. Who wrote Lonesome Dove? Like Larry McMurtry? This was like the Larry McMurtry
Did he?
caverns or
Okay, so
something.
yeah, probably.
Where?
I'm thinking Turtle Dove or something. but,
No, it's not
that's
Turtle
right.
Dove. And then I found the headquarters to Monsters Inc., which, I thought was pretty cool. And then they have their own tower, their own observation tower, like Space Needle kind of thing that you can go to, which we didn't go into. And, ducks or whatever those are. Is that a duck? I don't know what that is.
It's a duck.
Sort of
Isn't
form
it?
a duck.
It looks like a duck. If it looks like
Yeah.
a duck, it walks like a duck. But anyway, lots of this Logan's Run stuff everywhere, which was super cool. And just all over the place. Lots of water for Texas. I found the heart of Texas. This is apparently it.
It was deep in there.
Right. It was great. Some kind of cool old architecture that had looked like it either started there, San Antonio, or was moved there. This was like the mayor's house, which was kind of interesting. And so we checked a lot of that out. Ice cream. And then we went to these were the areas we were going to see the eclipse. So we went to Comfort, which is highlighted on the right with a blue dot. But we also checked out Kerrville, and we went to the north, and we went to Fredericksburg. Comfort was this cool little place. So we got there early. We were the second people in this parking lot by their big park. And it looked like it was going to be beautiful. The sky was like clearing up, and it was just this gorgeous blue. Everything was going to be cool. And then the clouds started moving in and obscuring the sun. The ice cream guy came in. So I got to tell you, I watched a lot of the eclipse to the tune of It's a Small World.
Did you get an ice cream?
I didn't. I did not get an ice
Impressive.
cream.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
don't
But
turkey
I
in
had
the straw.
I had enough. He never played Turkey in the Straw, which was good.
Weird.
I had enough snacks from our road trip that I didn't need to go get an ice cream. But this was it. I mean, doesn't this look like perfect eclipse weather? I mean, pretty clearing up and big empty blue patches. And this is Buddy. Buddy was our eclipse friend. He was part of a family that was watching with us. They were the first people in the park, and so we talked to them who were traveling through on their retirement trip, which was cool. My shirt, which you got to wear a moon shirt for the eclipse. And then it started doing this, and it was really a drag because
The world,
on one
man.
hand, we could see the eclipse through the clouds without the glasses.
Yeah.
which was kind of cool. We didn't have to wear the glasses, but then also, you had to watch it. It would come, it would go. You would see it, and then you wouldn't see it. And but I mean, it did get pretty cool, and it got really dark. And so as the sky started going down, this is Chris videoing stuff. I have a camera on top of my car that did a 360-degree bubble video, which
nice.
I haven't looked at yet because my laptop won't play it anymore. My laptop's
dear.
too old. But we got totality. We got the full effect of it, even though it was through the clouds. So I guess mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Which was pretty neat. And then, everything around us was so dark, all of the streetlights were coming on and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was kind of neat. On the way back, we found a place that I think you would have enjoyed, Jeff, called Toonstone. Not to be confused with Toontown or Tombstone, but it was Toonstone. And this was like Texas should secede from the Union Central, which was really funny.
No.
It was like if there was a redneck center to our trip, it was this. The guy there was super cool. And of course, we didn't mention anything about politics being from California. But the town had like a beer tree.
I see that.
Which was funny. The cartoon saloon, which was pretty cool, and it was all made out of like bottles, and that there's a guitar that's embedded into the bar, and we signed the guest book, being dorks and all. And this is Chris behind the bar. The sign at the top that says "dip" is not a comment on Chris, just so you know.
Probably the owner.
And so, there was the Sal Menello's Cafe with the, remember the Alamo sign in the corner.
Yes.
And it was, all told, it was like this weird, goofy, and this is the entirety of the town. It is 3 buildings.
Of course.
And, don't mess with Texas all the way. That's the vibe.
Yep.
Which was super, super funny.
Bizarre.
This is what I parked in front of. This bomb was aimed at the car when I parked in front of it.
Yikes.
And then we ended up in another little town who was like totally ready for the eclipse. They had gotten
Nice.
everything. And the center of town, like Back to the Future,
That's
has
a cool building.
the courthouse. Well, and that was the exact center of town. So
nice.
this whole building, when you walked around the center of town, this was it.
Yeah.
It was this whole building, which was hysterical.
It's like the Munsters meets the Winchester Mystery House.
Could you imagine decorating this place for Halloween?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
You really wouldn't need to.
This was really funny.
True.
I put this up on Facebook, and I said, we decided to leave town because I found a lamp that was shaded with human skin. And everybody went nuts. They're like, it's not human skin. It's got to be leather. And I'm like, you didn't get the joke,
It's
people.
cow skin.
Yeah.
Of course it's leather.
Well, human skin is leather too, technically.
This is where we stayed. We stayed in the hill area of Texas, and this is not what you expect Texas to be. There's a lake in the distance. There's all of this green. The hills were like the Hollywood Hills here in Los Angeles, just big and sharp and dangerous and crazy. But anyway, our whole trip was really great. We did 3,593.9 miles. We got 22.9 miles per gallon on average. And we spent 68 hours behind the wheel.
Oh, boy.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, long drive.
Yeah, it was a pretty good trip. We really enjoyed ourselves. I'm glad that Chris asked me to go. It was definitely kind of wacky, and we reversed our trip on the way back. So we went back through Roswell again. We went back through Alamogordo and Tucson is the first place we stayed. And, and some of it was very unremarkable. Tucson was very unremarkable. There wasn't anything to really write home about. But it was a lot of fun and a lot of driving. And we actually sort of did a bookend thing of what do you call it? I didn't post any pictures, so I don't have anything to show. Of Pee Wee Herman, because not only did we go to the Alamo, we stopped by the Cabazon dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And went to the Cabazon dinosaurs. So both of those Pee-wee Herman, Pee-wee's Big Adventure locations. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, it was a good trial road trip. I had to strengthen some things up on the road. I have never had one of the hoses fall off my car, like on a road where the speed limit is like 80, 85.
Okay.
So I did this time, and so we pulled in for some gas, and one of the hoses had come out, and it had sanded itself down, so it was just half a hose.
Damn.
Which was really pretty funny, and so, but anything that happened to the car, the biggest difficulty with the car, and I still haven't gotten all the bugs off it, but the biggest difficulty was that the bugs were just brutal, and so I still have. I have to clean all the bugs off of it, and I have to touch up the paint where the bugs hit the car and chipped the paint off the car.
Damn.
Because they did that much damage, which was kind of nuts. I mean, it doesn't look terrible on the car because the car is supposed to look a little beat up anyway. But yeah, it's one of those things I'm going to have to touch up.
Nice.
But yeah, thanks to Chris for being my travel partner and for the suggestion for the trip. We had a pretty good time. I don't think we annoyed each other beyond repair. And, the next time we've got an excuse to take a really good road trip, at least I know the G-Wing's gonna make it. So that's
yeah,
good.
totally.
But I'm going to bring an extra hubcap next time.
That's a good idea.
And I have already replaced the hubcap, which it's like a $10 fix, and it's about a half hour of my time to do. So I've already replaced it, and it has been on the car to Disneyland and back, so I think we're good for it to stay on there. So
Okay.
it looks weird now with one shiny wheel, and the rest of them are dirty and beat up and scraped up. But,
Nice.
Right.
anyway, yeah, it was cool stuff. So that's why we weren't on the air for 2 weeks. It's because of me. It's all my fault.
All your fault.
All my
Well,
fault.
we've got a couple minutes. Why don't we get through birthday history at least?
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
Maybe even regular
Oh,
history.
and Erica has joined us, and I'm not sure if you mentioned Mela before, but Mela's watching as well.
And
So,
Tracy's
I don't know
here.
who else we missed. And Tracy? Okay. Didn't know who we had gotten before.
Laura's here, so Chris is probably here.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Budella is suggesting I eat the bugs next time.
Well, extra
As
protein.
Drive-through
Um,
food. Yeah.
Yeah, and I posted a video in our internal chat of the nightly visitor I had the other night, but so you can see that. The first Star Wars birthday history is April 12th, 1914, and that's Gilbert Taylor, cinematographer on A New Hope. And a whole bunch of other stuff, including the Flash Gordon and the Omen and one of the Dracula movies, apparently, too.
Oh, cool.
They're pretty cool. The next one is April 17th, 1962. That's when Joe Lasky was born. He was the voice. He did voices for the Phantom Menace video game. And he was also... a certain little duck in Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yeah, he was Plucky Duck.
And if you look at his credits, he has like 159 voice credits. So I don't know. Just roll the dice and you'll see thousands of things.
He's one of those like alternate voices kind of guy. But he took on like Bugs Bunny at one point.
Yeah.
He's a pretty talented
I believe he
guy.
did. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's the one who did the voice of Yosemite Sam for Mel Blanc in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because Mel couldn't really do it anymore because he had to holler, a constant holler to do it.
He might have. That might have been kind of one of his first big breaks and stuff. But he did. He's done Daffy for a long time, where he's bid Duck Dodgers and all of that kind of stuff. His earliest thing that was like on camera, he was in Night Court in 1986, which is pretty funny. But yeah, he is credited as Yosemite Sam. in Who
Okay.
Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
are correct, sir.
Woohoo! That's pretty darn cool.
Right?
Okay.
That
yeah.
doesn't suck.
And then we have I still got a few more minutes. Let's see here. April 15th, 1978 is when the Sound of Space concert was conducted by John Williams, staged in Georgia's home county of Marin, California. Let's see here. April 12th, 1980 is when the novelization of The Empire Strikes Back by Donald F. Glut was published.
I think, and I could be wrong about this.
Probably.
I could be wrong about this, and you have no way of knowing because I did the same thing. His name, I think, is actually Glute.
Probably.
And Colleen and I have been fortunate enough to meet him at a party, and which was great because I got to ask him all sorts of questions about his novelization.
Nice.
Because he's
That's
got
pretty cool.
information in there that's not in the movie.
We met him at a party?
We did, at Craig's house.
Oh.
And he's a super nice guy, really, really pleasant to talk to. But I think I also murdered his name, and I think Craig's like, it's Glute.
I am Glute.
Right.
April 17th, 1983 is when the National Library Association launched a reading campaign with a poster with Yoda holding a book on it saying, "Read and the Force is with you," which doesn't seem really Yoda talk, but, whatever.
Yeah,
pretty close.
Well, I mean, if it's not supposed to be Yoda saying it, the biggest drawback with doing it in 1983, although this is before Return of the Jedi came out, but Yoda dies in Return of the Jedi, so
what
in about a month. Yeah, spoilers.
Damn spoilers.
In about a month, Yoda would be dead. So making him your poster child might not have been ideal.
Exactly.
But they didn't know that on this day in 1983. So
gotcha.
pretty funny.
So let's see. Now we have 3 minutes left. Why don't we get that? Did you do that Star Wars history, the last one, Jeff? No, we just talked about Donald F. Glut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the last one was Yoda. The only other stuff is the news part of it.
Right.
This is really kind of cool. We like the Star Wars Legos, which have gone through several permutations and stuff. Where remember everybody used to have yellow faces, and then eventually they decided that they should do pink faces, like skin color faces, which I think started with the basketball sets. Because the sports sets they needed to represent
just pink. They went with lots of colors,
right?
Right.
They did a variety of shades of browns, and I think that's why they did it, is because they're like, we can't just make everybody yellow. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And so the Star Wars figures got better, and they every once in a while will release one in a little bag, and I think that's what this is.
Oh, okay.
Which is the 25th anniversary.
Like a
Lego
blind bag?
licensed Star Wars minifigure, and it looks like it's R2KT, which is really neat.
Okay.
And I don't think they're the blind bag ones either, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I haven't read the whole article. But R2KT was built on behalf of Katie Johnson, who was 501st Legion founder Albin Johnson's daughter. And she wanted a pink R2. They built a pink R2. They called her R2KT in honor of her. And so now there's a whole bunch of R2KTs all around the country and the world even that go do charity events as the pink R2. And she was in episode 7, I think, in the background, all sorts of cool stuff. So R2KT has become like this huge movement. So I think R2KT is coming in a special set. So it'll either be in a set and she'll be included in it, or she'll be a separate, like, poly-bagged one. And I have some that's like, there's a C-3PO that came in a bag, and it was just C-3PO. And they do that sometimes. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, it looks pretty cool, and it's kind of a neat thing to do, to honor the people who've been doing such great stuff in the name of Star Wars. And so this is the 25 years of Lego Star Wars, and so it looks like they've got a couple little figure kits that it looks like Captain Rex over there and Darth Malgus, which are kind of cool, and maybe a sticker. And so R2KT is this little pink one. This is from Clone Wars, I think. And there's like an actual little Lego version.
Yay!
Of it, which is kind of
That's
cool.
so cute.
Yeah, so it's really sweet, and it's just a nice thing to do, and as something that just purely represents charity work. I mean, R2KT has no other function. It's awesome. I just think it's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's cool. Oh, it is time.
All right, you are listening to Docking Bay 94 on sci-fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. You can go there for all your nerd news. We've got new stories up there every single day that are of interest to you, and that is the primary radio station that we broadcast on. We've been doing that for many years, and you can look at the schedule up there, find all sorts of cool stuff going on. It's a labor of love station that has a Patreon if you decide you like what you hear up there, and most of your radio apps will play it, as will your smart speakers, which is pretty cool. Just ask for sci-fi.radio, and that's the URL, sci-fi.radio. If you're seeing our smiling faces, you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. Any of those are great, and we've been broadcasting there for less time than we've been doing this on the radio.
Yeah.
If you look at the number of the episode, which is this is episode 42 for the year, which is the week. It's week 42 of our broadcast year, and we've been doing this. This is our 12th year that we've been doing it, so it's been going on a long time. Kind of crazy, but. Yeah, and if you're watching us in any of those places, it's great. And if you want to show someone the show, probably YouTube is the best way to do that. So go check out DB94 over there. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
It's just a little.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And Kit Boba-Kit Sovine is working behind the scenes to get our document up with all the stuff that we talk about and things like that. So thank you to Kit for doing that.
We have one last Star Wars item on our list, and that is the trailer for Tales of the Empire, which is coming out on the 4th of May on Disney Plus.
The 4th of May? What a surprise that is.
I have no interest in seeing this. Absolutely not.
It is about the Empire.
I don't feel like getting closer to bad guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that's kind of interesting is, are they going to try and paint the Empire in a favorable light? Are they just going to talk about how difficult it is to be in the Empire? I'm not entirely sure.
It seems like it's mostly just a backstory for the character that was in Ahsoka.
Oh,
and the Mandalorian.
Oh, okay, so
it
was what was her name? Bruce Lee's goddaughter.
Yeah.
I can't think of the actor or the character's name, which is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could
Can't remember either.
It could be all right. I like getting little snippets of background stuff.
Diana Lee Inosanto?
Inosanto, yeah.
Okay.
That's the actress's name. And I liked her character. Of course, you know, she was evil. Morgan Elspeth?
Yeah, but I don't think that's the right character name.
It sounds right, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Close enough.
Yeah. And
Magistrate Morgan Elspeth.
Yeah. And so, you know, we're going back to all sorts of stuff with the Inquisitors and things like that.
Yeah.
And, it could be really cool. I might watch it just to see what kind of story they tell me, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can watch it.
I don't have a lot of
need to.
sympathy for the Empire and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
And I'm not a very
Some-
Sithy kind of guy, but they're bringing back a lot of characters. It looks like.
Yeah, Grievous.
Yeah,
You
What?
can watch it,
Grievous
and then
was
you
there.
can tell me whether I should watch it.
Okay,
Yeah.
pretty funny.
All right, so let's talk about theme parks. A guest snuck into the Native American village in Disneyland in California.
Yeah, why do people do stuff like that?
Because people are dumb.
They are dumb, and what a way to get an Insta ban
Yeah.
from the park. And also, when you put this on social media, you just make it so easy for them to find you.
Right.
Because everybody passes it around, and you're like, oh, look at me! I went and I sat with the Indians, and I had, food over their fire or whatever. And in the meantime, Disney's like, what's their account? Where do they live? Okay, let's go get them.
It's just really dumb. Like, why do you need to do that? Disney doesn't have enough to offer you. You have to break into areas that are.
Well, I mean, on one hand, I understand
limits?
I have been there so frequently that I'm going to do something I've never done before.
Well, then they need to not go as frequently.
Well, and you also don't do something you've never done by, doing something quote unquote illegal by breaking the rules. So like I went to DCA with Judy the other day, and I had never done the single rider line at Soarin' Over California. So that's what we did.
I think a better example
And that
is
was a
we
new
are
thing we'd never done.
we are friends with somebody who comes to Life Day, who, as a couple, they decided that their thing was going to be doing every single thing at the Disney parks.
Right.
And like every single thing, every tour, every restaurant, every restroom. I think that's a better goal than, sneaking in someplace that you're not
completely.
supposed to be,
But-
potentially damaging things that you didn't even know you would be damaging.
But there's always something
Yeah.
new you can find to do if you look for it. And it can be a minor thing or a major thing. And it doesn't have to be a big thing.
Yeah.
If you want a new experience,
Grr,
just
dummies.
find it.
The Autopia is going to be transferring over to vehicles that don't use gas. So,
Yep.
woohoo, because that area always smells really bad.
It does. And it's noisy.
Yeah.
And,
Although I wonder if they're going to pipe the noise in.
well, I think they will, because a lot of electric cars do that.
Yeah.
But they could make it sound like anything. They could make them sound like Tomorrowland.
They can make it sound like spaceships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
But of course, this has got a long way to go before it happens. And Jeff and I have discussed this before, and it's like, why has this not happened already? Because
Oh, yeah,
we've been
geez.
talking about it for a couple of years. It just
Yeah.
seems like a no-brainer to
Yeah.
do. But
Especially in California where we have so much regulation.
yeah, and so I think that they have probably been waiting for some sort of licensing contract to play out. Like Honda is
Probably.
currently sponsoring the Autopia. So either Honda went, let's do it, or Honda's like, we're out, and they're going to come up with another sponsor and make it happen.
Oh, Eric Gertz has info for us. He says the issue is that the batteries. Hopefully he's going to
Well,
say more.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe the batteries are too big.
well, batteries are always an
Heavy.
issue because
Um,
you only get
yeah.
a certain amount of time, but
They
only
don't
Yeah.
last long enough.
They only have to last most of the day, and you can swap cars in and out. You can do whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't
mean,
want
they-
them to die on the
yeah.
road.
Well, clearly they have found a solution because
Yeah, they
they're...
fill the Tesla batteries under there, so things will be fine for a while.
Oh. Are you making that up or is that real?
I don't know what they're using. I'm just saying the Tesla car batteries tend to last a pretty long time, so
That's just your best
they-
guess.
they could come up with something like that. Imagine,
Yeah.
measure
Or they
it's
could
pretty
make them solar.
Well,
Yeah.
or even we have the technology where when the cars come to the loading area, they are guided by a cement berm that lines them up perfectly with the loading dock area. And so all you have to do is set those up so that that can charge the cars when every time they pull in, they get a bit of a charge. And they can either do it by having contacts on the other side of the cars and contacts on that berm, or we have the technology now, like your cell phone, where you can do induction charging, and all they have to do is have a charger on the pad when the car comes, and they can charge it a bit there. Every little bit helps.
They haven't actually decided. Or if they have decided, they haven't announced it, because they said, as the industry moves towards alternative fuel sources, we have developed a roadmap to electrify this attraction and are evaluating technology that will enable us to convert from gas engines in the next few years.
Yeah, it's going to be years before it happens, and it's got to be cost effective, and they're going to need a sponsor. Because, I don't think Disney's going to want to take a whole bunch of the money they're making now from raising all their prices to throw it at that, because that's going to make their stock look bad.
Badala has sciencey reasons why it's hard. But anyway, in the future, that will happen. So cool. Hopefully it works out better than Trader Joe's announcing that they were going to stop having plastic in their packaging, because that hasn't happened, and it's been like 4 years.
Hopefully this works better than the rocket rods worked.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah,
Or is it-
That's my thinking.
Yeah. That's saying something.
As long as it's better than the rocket rods.
So if you guys recall, a pole in Town Square fell over like 6 months ago and hit somebody in the head.
By the flagpole. Yeah, that was
By
the
the
first
flagpole?
one. Yeah.
Well, now a pole speaker fell over by the castle. So hopefully they've decided to have somebody on maintenance walk around the park and just kind of wiggle on all the poles to find out whether they're getting loose.
Don't you feel like they should have done that after the first pole fell over?
Yeah, you think, wouldn't you?
I mean, you basically would have gone, okay, let us take a look and see what else is rusting from 50 years ago.
So some guy out with a flashlight, I don't know.
Although, to be fair, this one didn't hit anybody, so it was probably lower priority anyway, because it wasn't in an area where it was likely to hurt someone.
But the picture I saw of it, it had fallen out over one of the railings, was sticking out into a walkway, and they had to have cast members around it, guarding it, instead of just picking it up and moving it out of the way.
Yeah. So, I had a question, a thought that had to do with the Autopia, and I'm not someone that's even involved with that decision, but it seems like the easiest possible route they could possibly do in putting electric vehicles there is to electrify that rail that your car is attached to.
Well, but the
or
problem,
underneath it.
It's not entirely attached to the rail, because once you get out of the loading area, you have no rail.
But they can put a tether on it or something. I'm saying.
Right. Well, but that's
like a rail car.
Yeah. The difficulty is that
then you electrocute the kid that gets out of the car.
You have to make it safe for people to walk the track, which is the problem. So you could do it in the loading area where the car is covering that. You could embed cables underneath the roadway, which do charge the cars, but that means tearing it up and replacing it. That's not so cool. I think the best bet is to find a way to charge the car that lasts long enough, and with a combination of things like regenerative braking and induction charging, and the contact rails when you load and unload, because the cars sit there for a few minutes when they're getting loaded and unloaded, and if they keep doing that every like 10 minutes, you can probably get a pretty decent charge going and make them last the 12 or 14 hours that the ride is open.
Yep.
So, but
true.
we are not EV experts, and certainly I've seen enough people have problems where they've second guessed their EVs and run out of juice. So, although the big problem now apparently is people waiting for the chargers, because they'll go to a place on a road trip and there's a line of like 40 cars and there's 6 chargers. Like, oops. not so good.
Okay. Avatar Land has concept art for as part of the Disney Forward project. Basically, they just put out a drawing of some people looking out over a lagoon with lots of waterfalls and trees and things.
Yeah, this is not a thing I'm excited about, and
No, me
and I
neither.
don't know.
I mean, I'm a fan of waterfalls.
I like the architecture just fine. I think, and I haven't seen Pandora over at in Florida, but what the pictures I've seen look really beautiful. I haven't seen it in person. I'm sure it's amazing. I'm not sure it's a thing we need in Tomorrowland or in another section of Disneyland. And
Well, I thought they were talking about it for the new Disneyland Forward
maybe
areas.
So it might be between the hotels, or DCA might put it there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
No
couple
idea.
of options,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's like I said, it's nothing that excites me. I hope there are other people that are excited by it, who are really looking forward to.
So speaking of Disneyland Forward, the vote happened on the 16th, which was 2 days ago, and
Yep.
it was passed by the Anaheim City Council.
What a surprise!
Yeah, I read somewhere that there was supposed to be one more vote, but
Yes.
so what do you know about that, Jeff?
It's in the second vote is in May.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's another vote in May. That,
Because
like,
I went
this is
to
like the first hurdle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the same people are voting on it again or something. It's
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah, I think that they've voted to pursue it, and so Disney's going to regroup, make their final pitch, and then they'll vote on it again.
Yeah,
That's
something
what
like
I
that.
understand to happen. So.
If you go to the Disneyland Forward website, which is disneylandforward.com, they do have a map over there. However, now I can't find the map. So maybe it was under history? No. At any rate, I found a map earlier, and it was much better than any of the maps that we've looked at before. Oh,
I
it's
have a list.
clearer.
I have a list of all their attractions here, and in fact, I'll throw this up for y'all while we talk about it.
if you go to the possibilities link,
Pardon.
there is a large map
Yeah,
about halfway down the page.
That's what I'm on right now.
Yeah.
So, Tangled, Peter Pan, Frozen, Zootopia, Toy Story Land, and Tron are all listed here. And then this is the map that they're talking about, which has here, let me scroll up a little bit. There we go. So these are the two areas that they're really discussing possible immersive theme park, which is just south of the Mickey and Way, Mickey and Friends parking structure and all of that, down to Catella Avenue.
Yep.
They're talking about getting rid of Magic Way, which some people are not entirely thrilled with, and I think that's one of the stopping points with them having to regroup in May and do it again, because I think some of the people don't want to get rid of that.
It's not only Magic Way, though. It's also the little bit of Clementine Street that is south of Catella,
Yeah.
over by the other parking
Right,
lot.
that's
Yeah.
and that's currently a way into
Yeah.
the northern end of the Toy Story parking
It's
lot.
a little shady area in the map. It's got little lines on it.
Yeah.
Right. So so you can see Magic Way is blocked off in the upper left-hand corner of the map, and then you can see down below Catella in that other section that they've also grayed that out. So could include theme park, hotel, retail, dining, and entertainment, which honestly just sounds like more of Downtown Disney.
Well, what's interesting is if you look at the area that is just to the side of Disneyland and Disney California Adventure at Walnut and Catella.
Yeah. I'm zooming in here so you guys.
The items in that area that are orange are titled Disneyland Expansion.
Right.
And the items that are in sort of a pale blue are titled Disney California Adventure Expansion. So basically, it looks like they're trying to expand Disneyland across Disneyland Drive into what is currently a parking lot.
Yeah.
It's like a single level parking lot, and expand Disney California Adventure into what is the Pixar Pier Hotel
Right.
and the Disneyland Hotel. Although
Interesting.
actually I think the Disneyland Hotel is in the dark green, I believe, and the Pixar Pier Hotel is also in dark green. That's near Disney California Adventure. So those are going to be expansions to those lands, possibly.
Yeah.
I thought those were going to be an expansion to Downtown Disney.
Yeah, well, I guess what's
Yeah, I thought it was
interesting,
separate, but-
it looks like there's a central hub and kind of entrance there in the middle. And
Like looks like an eyeball.
yeah, it looks like an eyeball. And but they could make it in such a way so that if you're in DCA and you do an airwalk across the street, you end up in the DCA part of it, and the same
So
thing with Disneyland, and make
that
them two separate things.
That entire purple line is where they are proposing putting pedestrian bridges. It's not going to be that whole thing, but they say anywhere where there's a purple line, anywhere along here, we could put in pedestrian bridges.
Right,
And the same thing on Harbor Boulevard.
Which means that they'll basically go from the existing theme parks
Yep.
across to there.
Right.
So,
which
yeah.
which currently is the case for Downtown Disney. It goes
Yeah.
across
Yeah, it actually
Disneyland Drive, which
walks
doesn't show in
Right.
I
this
wonder if
image.
they're just going to build a tunnel. So that like the cars go through the tunnel and then you just walk over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
probably.
you already kind of do that because it's a bridge, and you don't realize when you're in downtown Disney that you were walking over this bridge.
The street. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
You
apparent
can't
at all.
even really tell.
Yeah.
So-
And then the area down south of Catella, that looks like they're expanding it into maybe a third entrance, a third park.
It looks like that or like what they have in Florida, which is like Discovery or what's it called?
Disney Springs?
Yeah, it is
Well,
like a
that's-
Disney Springs.
That's downtown Disney as Disney Springs.
Right.
Yeah.
Although,
They-
I mean, if
they'll probably close the other one.
if you look there, it has very little possible theme park experience, because possible theme park experience is in pink, and you'll notice
Yeah.
that there's only one area with possible theme park experience, and everything else is parking, hotels, and
Retail and dining.
retail and dining.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder. So
Well, and remember that Disney had kind of a meltdown when Anaheim said you can't put more hotel in downtown Disney.
Yeah.
And all of this that's going on is designed to fix that, because Disney desperately wants more hotel.
Yeah.
And has been,
Yeah.
sucking up other little hotels in the area that have gone out of business and that kind of thing. And, completely accumulating this land. But you'll notice in what we're looking at, where it's Catella and Harbor, you guys can't see my, hey, don't go away. You guys can't see my cursor, but the upper left-hand corner of this thing that's in white, I think that's existing hotel that
Oh, yeah, it
Disney
is.
could not get their hands on.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's a major
It's
hotel.
across from like the other thing.
Which it's really it's pretty interesting stuff. Everything remains to be.
I wonder if it'll be kind of a cross between Disney Springs and the area outside of Epcot where they have like the Boardwalk Hotel, and
Yeah. Which
they've got
also
like a
has
little
some-
lake
yeah.
there.
It has some businesses and stuff
Yeah.
in it too, and it looks like they're really trying to get more downtown Disney kind of stuff in there, get more
Right.
renters in there and things. With,
Yeah.
with
And it seems like mixed use is really the the way forward almost everywhere. Like mixed use, just like in general areas is more popular than making zoning things all for one item.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that's really difficult about this is that honestly, this could just be vague stuff. It's like,
Yeah, it could be all
we
blue
just
sky.
put a bunch of blocks there to give you an idea of what we're going to do.
Well, I mean, all of this, if you look at the wording anywhere, it's all could and might and
right.
ideas and things like that. So
Hotels. So everything
Yeah,
in
blue
this
sky stuff. Yeah.
everything in this map is a hotel that's green. That's a lot of hotel.
that is a lot of hotel. But they charge huge amounts of money for their hotels.
They do. They do, which is why they want more hotel.
Yeah.
Because we can't afford to stay in their hotels.
No.
It's just
way too damn much money.
way too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is a kind of an interesting thing, and I don't know how much of these hotels over on this side of things already exist. I think it's just the lower right-hand corner, and then the stuff up here on the left-hand side of it. I think that's all new too.
Yeah.
So
That's not the Disneyland Hotel?
I don't think it is. I could be wrong about that. It could be the
In
Disney.
what now?
The problem with the Disney Hotel is that they have changed so much of it and added so many towers and stuff that I don't really know.
The
Maybe
big,
that-
the green thing, there's Disney Hotel. The one down below it to the right is the Pixar one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would be interesting to kind of overlay a map of what is existing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
so
that
you
would
could
be
see
easy to.
that.
Would be interesting to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric agrees with Jeff that that's what that is. So,
Okay.
and he is our local Disney expert, so we rely on him. Moving right along, let me just check off these.
Yeah,
so
I
that
don't recognize the hotel anymore after all the new construction. And when you walk out of downtown Disney, you smack into the hotel. The Disney Hotel is right there. And so this whole map thing doesn't really make sense to me because I don't recognize Disney. I don't recognize downtown Disney over there yet either, based on all the stuff that's going on right now. So
the Disneyland character workers, so the people that you see wearing costumes, etc., have filed for a union election with the National Labor Relations Board. I'm like, I can't remember what the R is for. They would like to unionize, and they're trying to do it. They are trying to represent 1,700 employees who filed a petition for a union election.
And this represents people who are performing as characters, face characters, and in costume mascot characters.
Gotcha.
In Florida, they are already allied with Actors Equity, which is the stage performance union. But here in California, they're not. And so basically what they're looking to do is get equal time to what the people in Florida are getting.
And it would cover the handlers too.
Right. And so it's a pretty cool idea. I think they really deserve it. Jeff and I both know some people who are very dedicated character workers. They absolutely love their job, but we have heard some horror stories about how backwards the costumes are and how archaic they can be. And some of them are really great and, state of the art, technologically speaking, but are brutal to wear. And, and I know some people who, I think prior to this thing, they were considering lawsuits and that kind of thing because they're not getting taken care of properly. And it's like anything. You could be doing sports, or you could be working construction, or you can do whatever. If you were, hurting yourself for your job, that's not cool, and the company's got to take care of you. So, I think this is pretty great. So they had a press conference on Wednesday. They're feeling pretty solid about it, and we talked about it on the show before because some of our friends sort of tipped us off this was going on.
Yeah.
And more power to them. I think they deserve it, and it's not that they don't like working for Disney and love working for Disney. They just don't want to be taken advantage of.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's everybody, right? Nobody wants to work a job where you're being taken advantage
Yeah,
of.
that is true.
That's true.
Yeah, so.
Disneyland and Disney World announced new rules for disability access services last week.
Ooh, this is getting messy.
And it's interesting, too.
This is getting so messy.
Sean, why don't you talk about it? You seem to know
Yeah,
more.
so currently Disney's pretty free with the disability access service called the DAS. Some people call it DOS, depending. And this is the thing that gives people who have a disability or specifically difficulty waiting in line easier access. And so it works like a fast pass or a lightning lane. You get a return time to come back, and you wait in a shorter line, and you get on the ride. So if you want to go on Pirates of the Caribbean, there's a 60-minute wait to get on there. Instead of waiting 60 minutes in line, it's really about 50 because they overinflate their line lengths. So if you can't wait that hour in line, you can go away, sit down, and come back, and then get in line, and you will wait about 15, 20 minutes instead of the full 60. Disney's trying to alleviate a lot of that. Like I said, I just went on soaring over California on a single rider line, and I swear, man, I passed so many people waiting in that line. It was crazy. We just went up and we asked, and I didn't even know they did a single rider line, and we like warp speeded into that ride. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Now, interest of full disclosure, I have a DAS pass. It was given to me by Disney City Hall because they found me in a line coughing up a lung because certain things like weed or Axe body spray or things like that will put me in a asthma fit. But
the DAS now they changed the rules,
Right.
and you won't be eligible for it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. And so the last time I talked to them, and I'll tell you, Disney is super connected because the last time I talked to them about the DAS system, they hooked you, Colleen, and your brother and your sister-in-law
What?
up to my DAS for the upcoming Star Wars night.
Why?
Because it was there and they knew. They're like, oh, you have, it's like, how do you know this? It was crazy. And so they just went, oh, by the way, we've just hooked you up for that for Star Wars night. And I'm like, how? And they're like, well, you're registered. Everybody's connected. And I'm like, what the hell?
But it doesn't, like, I thought they changed the rules so that...
And that's the thing that I don't understand. And so the way the rules are changing is supposedly they're going to make it so that the people who get priority for DAS are the people who have more developmental disabilities, like autistic kids and people with Down syndrome and things like that, where they have trouble being in a crowd for a length of time. So that's what the rules are supposed to change to. And but there is a huge backlash going on right now because a lot of people are like, I can't stand in line for an hour and you can't, I can't get in there in my cart and I can't, the line isn't conducive to, me getting in line. So a lot of people are really pushing back. So we'll see if this stuff really takes effect. I think it's happening in May in Florida, and I think it's happening in June here at Disneyland.
Well, and the DAS is only for 30 days, right?
60.
60.
It lasts for 60 days.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so like in my case, mine is still active. But when I just went to talk to them about it, and they looked it up, and they went, oh, you're coming to Star Wars night with these people. And they just activated our group for DAS, which was like really bizarre. So part of the real problem that's been happening is DAS looks really impacted because it shares a line with Lightning Lane. So it's just the regular Lightning Lane line, and so they let you skip the big line and go to the Lightning Lane. And a lot of people are buying Genie Plus and getting the Lightning Lane stuff, which is great for Disney. They're making money, but it's making the DAS people feel a little weird. So you've got people who are now fighting, going, you can't change the DAS because then I can't use it. And then you've got people going, the DAS has too many people on it because the lines are still long. And that the people who are saying the lines are still long are the people who aren't taking into account the fact that people are actually buying the shorter lines by using Lightning Lane. So Disney's really kind of in a bind. I really kind of feel for them over this. As for me having DAS, if they want to get rid of it, I'm not going to be crushed. I very rarely go on rides and things. But, we'll see what happens with it. I only got DAS because they insisted. And I'm like,
Too many wackety-backy smokers.
Yeah, which is rough. Although, my gosh, we went the other day, Judy and I, and nobody was smoking in the parking lot.
No way.
I ran into a couple of people who smelled like weed in the park, but nobody was smoking weed in the park.
Wow.
It was nice. I couldn't believe it. I got out of there with my lungs intact.
Maybe Tuesday is the day to go.
Maybe it was, and of course I was at DCA instead of Disneyland. Although we did go into Disneyland a bit. I did their scavenger hunt thing for Season of the Force. They had this resistance card thing that you can get. And you have to decipher some codes and stuff. And they've got this whole map. It's actually really funny because if you look at the map, the thing you're supposed to find is this little flashlight that they sell. It's a lantern that they painted up that they got at Harbor Freight Tools, which is really funny. And then they if you do it all, they give you a trading card. So I got a Chewbacca trading card for accomplishing a thing. But yeah, even being in Disneyland. I did not have problems with weed this time. It was so nice. I could not believe it.
Oh, finally.
So, yeah, all told, it was a great visit.
And then the last thing, the second to last thing to talk about, not even the second to last thing.
One of the things
remaining to talk about is awkward. Awkward. Very awkward.
Yeah.
Because Sean, I guess, was flipping through Facebook and saw an article with some people that we know really, really well.
People that we know and love.
And have been roommates with in the past.
Colleen and I were in their wedding party.
Yeah.
And they're really sweet people, but they've gotten themselves in a bit of a bind where they had a pair of tickets to Sweethearts Night that they weren't going to be able to use. They live up in Washington State. So getting down to Disneyland, of course, is a Herculean effort. And so they went to pass on their tickets and got in a bind because the tickets are not transferable officially, and you're not supposed to resell tickets. And the article says that they were trying to get what they paid for them. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of that doubt.
The article actually says both. It does. It both says that they were trying to get what they paid for it, and that they paid more. That they were paid more for it.
Yeah, but they're Magic Key holders, and because they were doing this ticket thing, Disney booted them from the Magic Key program with no refund, no nothing. So, $2,200 for some high-end Magic Keys. They're out that money, and they can't come into the park. They're banned for what, a year?
A year.
Which is crazy. And so they had COVID, which is why they were canceling their Sweetheart Nights thing. And they put the tickets up for sale on eBay, which is a little weird, but the ticket says you're not allowed to do that. And so it's a really weird bind to be in. And they've been Disney fans as long as Colleen and I have.
Harder core than we are, though.
Right. Well, they've been involved.
Much harder core than we are.
Going back to the old message boards of Disneyland and things like that.
But we all had annual passes back since 1991 or 92.
Yeah, early 90s.
But I think, I don't know if they've taken a break from their annual passes
I don't either.
ever. Sean and I did.
We did.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really kind of a bummer, and they have they approached the resort president Ken Potrock and Disney Parks chairman Josh D'Amaro, and said, "Hey, and they said, hey, mea culpa. We didn't realize we were breaking it. But that's fair. We broke the rules, but please, we think you're overreacting." And they haven't had any kind of. The representative said, "Sorry, you lose." Really, really brutal. And so they had like 257 days left on their passes because they just renewed them in like September or whatever.
Did they take both their passes or just one of their passes?
I think both of them is what I'm hearing.
Wow. So,
I mean, it does list the cost of a pair of passes here. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, they.
We just heard this today, so we haven't had a chance.
Yeah,
to talk to
it's
them
really nuts.
in
But they,
person.
so to be super hardcore, so they did New Year's Eve at Disneyland, then went to Florida for the marathon, then did a cruise for Disney, then came back to Anaheim. That was like what they did over the New Year. So I mean, Disney's a big part of their lives.
Yeah.
But read the fine print. You got to read the fine print.
Yeah, it really makes you want to walk the straight and narrow with Disney.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that I see people. Somebody approached me tonight and said, "Hey, do you know anybody who can use a Star Wars night ticket? I can't go. I've got one, and I'd like to get a little something for it. But if somebody can use it, shoot me a note." And so that happens all the time. And until you walk through the gate with the ticket is unclaimed, basically. It's not attached to a human being. Someone has purchased it, but you can kind of gift people tickets and stuff.
But you can resell it as long as you don't sell it for more, right? Like if you were to sell it to a friend.
Right. I mean, but it's an under the table thing. This was such a public sale, and that's what's weirding me out. It's like, why did you go to eBay for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, of all the places, Facebook Marketplace and basically what happened though is that like somebody ratted them out.
Yeah.
Which is the thing. Somebody's like, hey, somebody's selling their ticket, and I think that is part of the problem too. And I don't know that if it was personal or just some Disney fan going, you can't do that, and being a jerk about it. But they put the tickets up. They got bought right away. But then somebody notified the park that like these are being resold. So, yeah, that really sucks. So it may just be one of their passes. We don't really know for sure. And I haven't had a chance to talk to them and say, hey, what's up? I mean, at the very least, it sucks.
It totally sucks.
And
yeah.
I don't really know what to do.
It's interesting because I wonder at what point in the ticket buying process
he said he was logged into his account while he was trying to do the transfer, and that's what flagged it. So
yeah, I mean I bought our tickets for Star Wars night, so I must have signed something that says I agreed to that too. So anyway,
kind of nuts.
Moving along.
Let's do two things here. I'm going to do the rest in peace real quick. And then Jeff has a taste test tonight.
Oh, right.
We went everywhere trying to find the True Moo Blue Milk, which just came out celebrating Star Wars Day. Jeff lives near one of the markets that had it. I went to like 7 and couldn't find it.
I didn't know they had it, though.
So
I just went to get cat litter. I'm all, hey, here it is.
Right. So let's do this. We got like 3 weeks of people who passed away. One of the big one, the first African American man to win a supporting actor Oscar, died at the age of 87. Louis Gossett Jr. He was in An Officer and a Gentleman and Roots, and all sorts of stuff. Iron Eagle, and this really talented guy. And sad to hear of his passing. Chance Perdomo passed away. He was the young star of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. He was Ambrose, who was the guy who was sort of like locked into the house. One of the cousins was the troublemaking cousin. If you watched Sabrina, he passed away in a motorcycle accident. At the age of 102, Luke Contor passed away. He was the last survivor of the USS Arizona attack from Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
So he passed away. And Ed Piskor, who was a comic artist and a YouTube host, he was having some trouble with accusations of inappropriate conduct and stuff, and he passed away unexpectedly. They're not saying anything about that, so we don't know the circumstances behind it. But he did a project called Hip Hop Family Tree, which was documenting the early years of hip hop with like DJ Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash and people like that. And he worked on X-Men and a whole bunch of other stuff. And he did Red Room, which was a horror comic. We lost David Barrington Holt at the age of 78. He was the guy behind Jim Henson's Creature Shop in Los Angeles. He came from the UK, and he set up the whole Creature Shop here in Los Angeles, which is still running. It was set up to support the TV series Dinosaurs, and he oversaw everything: animatronics, puppetry, special effects, and also the admin and research and development for it. So if you like anything Jim Henson's put out since the early 90s, he had his fingers in it. At the age of 76, we lost O.J. Simpson. I don't think I need to tell you about O.J. Simpson. Met him once when I was a kid, back when he was still favorable from people, and that was kind of interesting. We lost Trina Robbins at the age of 84, the first woman to draw Wonder Woman. She's got a long history with comics, and being able to step in and add a female touch to Wonder Woman seems like a no-brainer, but it took a while to get there. We have a great memorial up there on sci-fi.radio if you want to read more about her terrific career. Eleanor Coppola, who was the matriarch of Francis Ford Coppola's film Dynasty. Every kid they had went into movies. She herself began filming documentaries. She was the main person behind Hearts of Darkness, which was the documentary on Apocalypse Now. She was trying to shoot some background stuff so that people could use it in promoting the movie, and then she ended up shooting so much stuff they made an entire documentary about how insane that film shoot was. Anyway, she said that she's like, I got a bunch of stuff I want to do, so I don't know. I'm either going to buckle down and do it while Francis is still alive, or I'm going to wait till he dies and live my own life. And I'm like, wow, that's a woman with a plan. Robert McNeil passed away at the age of 93. He was part of the McNeil Layer Report, known for being one of the most charismatic and reliable newsmen. 1975 to 1995, he did the McNeil Layer Report, which was pretty amazing. Just recently, just in the past couple days, it was announced that Samantha Davis passed away. Sammy, if you ever met her, she was Warwick Davis's wife. She was only 53, absolutely darling woman, and great sense of humor. And she was the pushy one in the family. She was the one who got Warwick off his butt and doing a lot of stuff. He credits her with getting him involved in Harry Potter, getting the Willow series made, all sorts of stuff like that. And he did a travel log also, and it was because of her. She talked to Ricky Gervais and said, you should put Warwick in your travel log. Anyway, she was just a doll. She was frequently attached to her kids and her husband at conventions and at red carpet stuff, and she was really neat, really sad to hear of her passing. And then at the age of 80, Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers Band, the last surviving member, dies at 80. There are no original members of the Allman Brothers Band. He wrote their biggest hit, Ramblin' Man, and he'd been in and out of the band, different versions of it. He was their guitarist and did amazing things with that. And their band was groundbreaking in that it was a mixed band. It wasn't a bunch of white guys. It was a bunch of black guys. It was like whoever was talented was in the band. Who cared what you looked like? And that was kind of a big deal in the South to do that, have a very integrated band like that. They were unapologetic for that, and they were a damn good band. So sorry to hear of his passing.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Oh, boy.
That's
Jeff?
a lot of people.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Do you want to show us what you brought for snack time?
For show and tell. Yeah, and I don't know if you can see it.
Hold on. All right. I'm gonna back you out. Yeah, for some reason the sound dropped out of the video.
That's weird.
Yeah. It was,
Eric says it's back down. Oh,
yeah, it is. I fixed it.
It was the zooming. But yeah, yeah. So that's what it smells. It's very similar to me to like the vanilla you would have in like a powdered vanilla drink. Like
Okay.
Okay. Taste wise, oh boy. Well, it is not as flavorful as I would think, but I guess that's good because it's supposed to be just milk that Luke drinks. So it's not really, really heavy in that fake vanilla flavor.
Right.
And Sparrow said it had something to do with like rice, but I don't think it does. It's just sort of vanilla flavoring.
Well, it says vanilla with other natural flavors.
Yeah,
so...
yeah. I have no idea what the other flavors are.
I don't
either. The milk itself is, I'm not really a milk drinker, to be honest. I don't really drink a lot of milk.
Well, and it's not supposed to taste like what you get at the Disney park.
No, not at all. Not at all.
True Moo is known for doing like Nestle Quick kind of stuff. They've got, they have an orange flavor. It's like an orange cream. Mm-hmm. They have strawberry. They have chocolate. This is a little different for them, and I guess really limited.
It contains less than 1% of natural flavors.
Okay.
It is low-fat milk with liquid sugar, carrageenan, guar gum, blue number 1, red number 40, vitamin A palmitate, and vitamin D3.
Yeah.
Yum.
Everything that my mom used to make, I tell you.
That's right.
But yeah, it's not like, oh, this is amazing. It definitely doesn't taste anything like the one in the park because there's way more flavor in those. So this is just sort of a mild vanilla, like Sean said, like the strawberry quick or something,
right?
Not really.
It's like strawberry quick but vanilla.
It's got Luke and Vader on the label. They're sword fighting in The Empire Strikes Back, which is not where we encountered blue milk. Of course, we did it in the first movie. Yeah. And there's a thing on there that I'm trying to get a good picture of, which says "scan for trivia" on the label.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
because
Yeah, and I don't think I'll get a blue milk mustache either. So yeah.
So, people over on Facebook are asking what the Parks blue milk tastes like, and it tastes kind of like a fruit smoothie,
yeah,
but a
it's,
little
Yeah.
bit thinner.
I think it's mango flavored officially. Somebody posted the ingredients of that.
Yeah. Definitely, this is definitely a lot more bland. Definitely, yeah, David, you could probably easily pour this in your cereal. It wouldn't affect a huge amount of the flavor.
Let's see here. So, I have a picture here. The blue milk is apparently dragon fruit blend,
Okay.
and the green milk is mandarin orange blossom. Somebody posted the labels off the bags from Disney.
So
Oh.
I see something that says that blue milk is dragon fruit, pineapple, lime, and watermelon. And
Yeah.
green milk is a citrus drink featuring mandarin orange, passion fruit, grapefruit, and orange blossom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
that seems that there's coconut in the blue milk.
yeah, they taste
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
I
Because
think
like
I
dragon
prefer
fruit
the
really doesn't have really much of an overpowering flavor. So
No, it doesn't.
Wookie cookies. I have some cookies here, but I'm not gonna really try to eat those on the camera. But
Well, and I'm trying to find like a really great picture of this.
the one from Disney or this or
No,
this?
of the True Moo thing, because I
Oh.
really wanted to. Oh, here it is. I'm now it's fuzzy. I'm trying to scan their QR code just to see
Oh.
what their trivia is. Oh well.
I mean, I'd probably go grab it real quick, but
Yeah.
our show's
Well,
not up.
maybe we'll do it next week and see. And I'll try in the intermediate time to get our hands on it.
Yeah.
Because I like weird stuff like this.
Yeah. It's really just appearance,
Oh,
So-
sure. Well, and the thing that's really dumb, like we used to make blue milk all the time because who doesn't have food coloring in their kitchen?
Exactly.
That they're
I
trying
forgot
to
to
make
say.
it vanilla, more power to them. But I mean, honestly, we had blue milk when we were kids because we went, hey, we were basically going through the cupboards in the kitchen going, we've got blue food coloring. We can have
Yeah.
Luke's blue milk and graham cracker crumbs, and we can have Tatooine breakfast. Yeah.
As a child, I was faced with a very similar meal and I declined. I said, I do not need to eat it all because I will not eat that.
Well, and
Sam, I am.
you were faced with it because you were like the guest in someone's house, and that's what they were all eating.
I was. They took, for their Sunday morning breakfast, their ritual was to crush up graham crackers and pour milk over it. And that's a horror story for me. Like, even as an adult,
man.
it makes me kind of gag a little bit to think about
yeah,
that.
Jeez.
Were they religious?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, jeez.
Because
The
I
worst-
No, in
um,
fact, the dad worked at JPL.
Yeah.
oh,
The worst milk that I ever had was powdered milk. So there you go. That was the worst milk.
can I say that they also make a mint vanilla milk?
Gross.
I would try that. I would
Ew.
try that. But well, and now they need
Come
to make,
on.
now they need to make the green milk because what am I gonna drink as old Luke? Let's get that going on.
I know.
You could take some milk and put some green food coloring in it.
I wonder if it would just be vanilla again.
Right.
Ugh. Are we gonna wrap it up, Sean? You have 1 minute.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks for coming back after a 2-week forced hiatus there. It's my fault. I went to Roswell and did a bunch of dumb stuff, which was very fun.
Golly.
But you have been listening to us on sci-fi.radio. Please continue to listen to us there. We're there 24/7. I've got a morning show in the morning. I will be there for Good Morning Tatooine at 9 a.m. Pacific or 12 p.m. Eastern. And we play dorky music and movie stuff. We had a really good show this morning, which you guys missed because you didn't listen.
Yeah.
And
Pretty darn cool.
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. All of those places are where to see us on video. We appreciate your company. Everybody who has been hanging out here has been super cool. And thanks for being on the chat. We love when you guys engage there. Big thanks to Kit for doing our show document and color coding everything by week. That was glorious. I really appreciated that.
Oh, golly.
It was way too much stuff, and I had to weed through some of the people who passed away because too many people passed away. But I really appreciate her organizing all of that. Thank you, Kit.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we'll be back next week. Thank you guys for tuning in.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Soledado.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always,
May the force be with you.
All right, little credits for you guys over there on the video. We'll let that go for a while. Bye, y'all.
Good night.